morning, Ghana. This is the AM show where we're talking health and poverty, which are very closely related. It is said that health is wealth, which will then also mean that if you are not healthy, it could drain your wealth. So what are the main health issues we're having to deal with in Ghana? Of course, malaria, and we have a vaccine for malaria. We're expecting that to be rolled out, but there's also the various forms of the cancer in its various forms. But it turns out that even though liver cancer is also a problem, it's not getting that much attention. Liver cancer accounts for about 14.4% of all cancers recorded in the country, and it's not that much talked about. So alcoholism can destroy your liver and drain your finances too as you consume more of that alcohol. We'll get into detail here on the AM show when we're joined by a doctor to speak to us about avoiding liver cancer so you also don't drain your wealth. Now, closely related to the health topic is poverty. Kofi Annan once said, extreme poverty anywhere is a threat to human security everywhere. And Ghanaians say the number one cause of poverty is corruption. That is according to a new UNICEF research. What do you think is the number one cause of poverty in Ghana? We will link up with the lead researcher of this project, but you share your comments with us on our social media handles. We also have sports, showbiz, and our Akum Singh is joining me again for the news review. Right now, we're going back to our happy song. All right, time now for the AM news. And in our first story, the Central Region Police Command is on a manhunt for 4 armed robbers who attacked and shot a man at the Coronation Junction in Cape Coast. The armed robbers were said to have trailed the 73-year-old man who had gone to the bank to withdraw an unspecified amount of money. The police have put a bounty of 5,000 cedis as a reward for anyone who volunteers credible information leading to the arrest of the suspects. Richard Kojonyaku has more in the following report.
Eyewitnesses say the victim had just withdrawn an unspecified amount of money from the Ghana Commercial Bank to purchase something from the market. And upon reaching a mattress depot, the robbers on 2 motorbikes crossed him and asked him to surrender the money which had been kept in a rubber bag. The 4 armed men gave several warning shots that scared many at the Coronation Junction, one of the busiest places in Cape Coast. Many ran to seek protection during the operation that lasted for 5 minutes.
Okay, mama shop here and see one there. Yeah, it's one shop and feed a type in it. Yeah, one was a motto. What's on a man we're shooting. Ma, why just can I cross that share? No, a one and wire 4. What's the motto? No. Until one modern woman warning shot and seeing a beer one. Say you can't able shop when he hasn't shop game. He hasn't shop game by Jama on wasn't a quake. Boys too, across that man or be also well. It's no bleed the party, or the look of foam. Now was soon. Now the shepherd again, Mushroom, my crop come was in a hospital.
When about, I think it's about 10:30. We hear some gunshots. When we realized that I said, man called Bamboo. It's called Bamboo, but the real name is Amuzu. He was a former seaman who came. He was about to come and buy some hardware from this store. They heard the gunshot. So one of our boys rushed to the scene, and it was told if he ventured, they would kill him. So everybody was astonished. Then they all went away. When we were in 2 badges, 2 bottles, 2 motor cabs, they all bolted their way because they gave one shot. Whoever ventures, they will kill the person. So basically, everybody was afraid of coming near the scene. So they left before we saw but he was lying in a pool of blood. What we saw that they shot his left leg. So you can see the blood oozing on the floor with the heart down. So he was rushed to the hospital. So do all that we know.
Nimi bia won by one max, one shahwe, one helmet impo. No them we wo be the max no was there than was a cry. We are tell one person will come broken am the Nigeria for. Also who is coming. Now I tell one person am the one fear.
The incident left many enthralled with fear. They say it's an incident that has never happened before in Cape Coast.
Oh, I went who you been see hadn't seen your show. Why went who pa? Why went your show? And your shops were around, in your shops were had it. It's all been in your show. Why am surprised?
The Central Regional Police Command is allaying the fears of residents. They say they are on a hunt for the 4 suspects. They caught the support of the public in order to apprehend the perpetrators. Regional Police PRO DSP Irene Sewa says the service has put a bounty of 5,000 Ghana cedis to be given to anyone who volunteers information leading to the arrest of the suspect.
The victim is at Cape Coast Teaching Hospital and he is responding to treatment. The Central Regional Police Command want to use this opportunity to appeal to the general public that anybody who have information about the robbery incident should contact the nearest police station or call 18555 and share that information with us. And we also have a booty of 5,000 Ghana cedi as a reward for anyone who will give credible information lead to the arrest of the perpetrators. Again, the command wants to assure the general public that there is no cause for alarm. Security situation is good, and we have strategized to help us to get the perpetrators arrested. Everybody can freely go about his or her duty, and the assurance is that we will continue to protect as it is a mandate of the service.
The 73-year-old man is currently receiving medical attention at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital. Here is his brother.
Oh, he's fine. He's fine now. They shot his leg, the left leg.
The left leg? Okay.
The police assure that come what may, the suspect would be apprehended. Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kwejonya Akon, Cape Coast.
Officials of the AMA Wednesday stormed the Agboglushi market in Accra. The insanitary conditions there was their focus, but the team uncovered a raft of illegalities being perpetrated by some traders and other workers within the enclave. For instance, a welder who was found to be operating in a filthy environment was also found to be operating without a work permit. Others were also found to have connected electricity illegally. They were all served notices and expected to appear in court Thursday. Michael Papani Ashale was with the Clean Ghana team. His report is read to you.
The Accra Metropolitan Assembly moved to clamp down on companies flouting environmental and health safety protocols within the Agboglushi industrial area. Richard Sagbaji, who is a welder there, had a lot of questions to answer.
The head of our presence here, so unceremoniously, no worries around.
Yes.
Where's your urinal? Huh? Where's your urinal for your client? Let's go. I'll come here. We'll take him through all that. Let's go and let me show you something here. Come, let's visit this place. This your urinal?
Yes.
So, my brother, come and stand here. You, I need you. Be with me here, because it's for you.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So this is your urinal here. Yeah. This is how it is. Because you are lucky you have air drain here, so you urinate here. What form of disinfection do you apply here or cleaning the place?
We used to clean it.
Even used to, but you haven't cleaned it.
We clean it all the time.
All the time.
Even yesterday we clean it. But the dust is coming from down here. Where? Not my place. It's coming from the filling station down here. The people who came here, who came to the filling station to urinate, they dumped the dust inside the hose there, and the other dust from the gutter drained to this place.
The plastics or dust?
I'm talking about the plastic rubbers and those rubbish.
So after now, this place, you have been able to cement here, and look at the stench that is coming out. You telling me that you have been able, you scrub here, you wash here?
Please, I'm not the only one person or only the shop people urinate here. The whole area here or they urinate here.
Who put up the structure?
I put it.
So if you
at first they used to urinate all these places, so but for me just to help the public, that is why I did this thing here. Yes.
So all that you have to do now is you have to take it as a responsibility. Any Muslim brother or sister who's coming to attend the urinal, okay, you let the person know that this is a bin. Where's your bin? If you finish whatever plastic that you are holding there, put it into the bin. At the end of the day, you will dispose the bin off and bend whatever plastic that you are generating. All this plastic find its way into the drain. You paid your business operating permit. The business operating permit is the license, the tax that you pay to the assembly.
That's what I'm saying that you should.
So you need to let your boss, that thing you have to paste it here.
My boss was the one who paying that money.
Director, you have to put when you pay, make photocopy and have it. As at now, we can assume that you haven't paid.
What I'm saying is that it's my
No,
boss
but I'm
who
saying
take
that
care of
by our law, we assume that you haven't paid.
You just told us that you have acquired that permit in 2004. Yeah. Is that so?
That is the AMA permit. Yeah.
2004.
Yes.
So you are telling us now that since 2004, you have not in any way acquired any new permit. Is that so?
Yes.
That's so. Yes. Simply means that since 2004, you have not paid, but business operating permit is subject to renewal every year.
Right now you come here, I don't know anything about all these things, and then you people say that you are giving me this thing and all that. No, I don't think.
He was served notice for first the insanitary state of the makeshift washroom, and then for working without an operating permit.
Listen, get it clear. Get it clear. Yeah. We are not fining you. We don't have the power to fine you instantly. We are sending you to court. So your charges are: 1, you are operating a welding shop without fire extinguisher. Okay. 2, insanitary urinal facility. You don't clean it. 3, poor. Listen. Let me finish and you come. 3, poor wiring system. All the wires are exposed, which you are supposed to insulate them. You have to insulate them to prevent negative power, negative and positive coming together to create fire. That is what you need to do. You yourself, you know that all the wires, you are supposed to insulate them. Is it not true? Is it not true? Are you not supposed to insulate them? Okay. And then 4, your absence of AMA business operating permit. Your license for 2019, 2020, 2021, you don't have it. So we are going to prosecute you for all these charges.
The offender, Richard Segbaji, later pleaded with Assembly to take steps to educate the public on its rules.
If they know that we should do the right thing, they should come on air and then tell us that, oh, let us do this and this and this. And when we refuse to do that, they can take us to court. But if we as ignorant, we don't know anything about this, and then they came and said they are sending us to court, what are we going to say in court?
Another person who is the fuel pump manager at the Bubuliship Total Oil was also charged.
Okay, so we came here to do that inspection, and the manager here is seeking clearance at the head office, and they are giving us problems not to carry out these inspections. So we are serving them a letter of obstruction. They are obstructing Accra Metropolitan Assembly from carrying out our needful duty within their working premises, which is contrary to AMA bylaws, Cap 36.
At the Dormont Steel Company, the team was unable to access the site.
So we needed management clearance. So when we got here, we met the safety manager, who we took him to meeting to give us clearance for the exercise to be carried out. And per the reasons that he has given us, at least as a human institution, everybody has his limitation. It's not within his remit to give us the entry permit for us to carry out the inspection without his due approvals from management. So he requested that if we can honorably guarantee him today, so that he will do adequate arrangement by management and get approvals for us to come and ascertain what is going in within the factory premises here.
At the main market, the team discovered that many vendors were selling their goods on choked drains. The officials confiscated the goods on display.
Under the tip of the drain. Look at them. Look at what is happening. And ignorantly we come to buy. Okay? This water is where they display this yam for sale. Then ignorantly we come to buy. Every time we've consistently asked them to stop selling here. And the moment we leave, they come back. So I think that all the time we will regularly come and make sure we confiscate the yam consistently until they stop. That's what we have to do to serve as a deterrent to them to stop.
To solve the issue, Joseph Asitanga hinted of plans to commence a new project, Operation Clean Your Own Drain, come next week.
from now, next week going, we are coming out with a program to ensure that all the public drain here within the Agoglosi market here, we're going to ensure that when we get here, all the people selling in front of the drain, we are going to get equipment ready, shovels and pickers ready in our car, and put them to job to desilt and clean the drain. And we're going to start at the beginning of the drain and continue until we finish desilting this drain. And we'll continue that exercise until they themselves take it upon themselves as a mandatory exercise to regularly desilt the drain.
6 Christian groups have urged members of parliament to listen to the voice of the people and ensure the swift passage into law that proposed proper human sexual rights in Ghanaian family values bill. Describing the activities of the LGBTQ+ community as an insult to the intelligence of God, the group comprising the Pentecost, Apostolic and Methodist churches, as well as the Christian Council of Ghana, the National Clergy Association and others, warned the MPs will be inviting the wrath of God upon the nation if they fail to back the law. Chairman of the Church of Pentecost, Apostle Eric Nyameche, presented the memo to the parliamentary committee working on the bill.
The Church of Pentecost is 10.38% of the Ghanaian population, and we are against this LGBTQ blasting, and the blast is never going to end. Our concern is not about today, it's about the future. Today, when we let in this LGBTQ+, what is going to happen is that we are going to accept same-sex marriage, which the president says that it is never going to happen at his watch. But if he allows LGBT+ to start, it is true that it is never going to happen at his watch. By the time we get into same-sex marriage, the president will not be the president of the nation. I agree with him, but he should stop this. He should close the door at where it matters. And we are saying that he should close it now. This movement is an insult to the intelligence of God, the Creator. We are just trying to tell God that you didn't think enough. This is how it should have been. And if you have a society where there are no absolutes, soon there will be no law. And we have to be very careful. And our lawyers who are arguing for all this, the matter on the floor is not about rights, it's about morality.
A group opposed to the legislation intended to make homosexuality illegal in Ghana says the state has no business meddling in the sexual preference of consenting adults. The coalition, which includes private legal practitioner Koto Ampao and several prominent academics, among others, argues that private members' bill sponsored by Ningo Pram Pram MP Sam George and others criminalizes dissenting views and expressions contrary to the words freedom and justice that emblazon the nation's coat of arms. But presiding Bishop of the Methodist Church of Ghana, Most Reverend Paul Kwabena Boafo, and his colleague, head of the Apostolic Church, Apostle Eric Nyameche, tells my colleague, Elton Brobe, the MPs have a duty to do God's will.
Though we might have the rights, we might have everything at our disposal, it doesn't mean that you can just be moving around and doing what you like. Our constitution is very clear on public morality. What is it that we want to do? And if you look at the other side, which is the LGBTQ, even the use of the word queer. Why would we want to even use that word? Because from very beginning we have known queer to be something queer. And so we need not entertain and encourage. Yes. And again, we should also take note that as a church, we are not against the people, but against the act. Against the act in the sense that if we should entertain it, if we should encourage it, it is hitting at the very foundation of our structure as humanity. and as society and as Ghanaians. And that is what we think that the bill is looking at, and we must address it so that we can consolidate society and let society stand as God wants.
This bill is bringing the issue to the table so that we sit and talk and decide on what is best for the nation. Even in this bill, there are aspects of the bill that's protecting the rights of such people. It talks about people not taking the law into their own hands to go and do things against such people. For the first time, a bill is before us which protects the rights of even such individuals. Yes, and you asked the question whether if Parliament passes the law and Parliament does not agree on what the bill is saying, the parliamentarians are representing the rest of the nation. You have over 90% of this nation being religious, and they are all saying no. So I don't see why. It is a matter of a process. Yes, we believe that it will come out in a way that this nation will win.
President Akufo-Addo has renominated the former MCE for Cape Coast, Ernest Ahing. Mr. Arthur has for the second time failed to secure 2/3 of the votes of the Assembly to earn confirmation. Not even the regional minister, Justina Asan, kneeling to beg the Assembly members to vote for the nominee could change the minds of the Assembly members.
The young so young to a baby, young found my penina and the senior way of 15 numbers are on Sinituma. No pastor in there. Send them to Messi and Poya. Oba how gain our tits baby, Papa Money. To me to toss someone, Papa, or them who to you were going to come on each other. I can't get the someone. One members, one shop now, one nominee from o Sunday. Saya candidate. Oye Ibrahim Kuntu. Oye za oda yena ya komando. We need that Kuntu 20 na awo wa. Best someone. Ipiara mena support meeting. Na client say up to aba. Is a man. Omo Ernest Arthur no here.
Right, so Richard Kojonyako reports as of midnight, consultations to enable a second voting was being done. He joins us live right now, the very latest. Hello, Richard. So it appears the Assembly members are bent on not approving the MC nominee. What is it? How did he fail them so badly?
Well, so in the first time that they voted, he secured 34 out of the 65 votes cast, but this time he went further to 40. So it appears that some consultation or some works were done behind the scenes to enable him get more than what he got in the first round. So he failed to secure the 2/3 votes required to enable his confirmation. He was supposed to get 44, and in this case, he got 40 out of the 65 votes. And so 25 voted no. So as of midnight, we were still there. The transport minister was there. Asamoah Boateng was there. And then despite all these pleas from the regional minister, it didn't push them. There were also talks of some people paying some losing bonus in the form of dollars, $100, $200. And so that emboldened the assembly members to still stick to their guns to vote against the president's nominee. And so we were there around midnight when we were told that the president had renominated Mr. Ernest Arthur. And so they wanted to go through another round of voting to see if they could still secure his confirmation. But there were protests, there were consultation here and there. And it turned out that they can't carry that kind of exercise that particular night. We left there at 1 a.m. And so you could see the weary eyes of people. People were dozing off, all in the name of the process to vote to confirm the president's nominee.
So the question I'm asking, what is it that he's done that the people are so bent on rejecting him?
Well, so nothing in particular they say, but it appears that there are a lot of interests. People have interest, and so you had the NDC caucus, the NP for Cape Coast South, Wicked Hagen. So what we picked on the ground was that he does not want him to go through. So these are speculations on the ground. He does not want him to go through because he would be contesting him. You know, he contested him in the 2020 election. So should they allow him to go through, he will still have some resources to contest him again. All of these issues, plus certain things that he said that he failed to do, and certain consultations that when he was the MCE in the past 4 years, he failed to do, and all of that. So they are using all of these things against him, and that is why they are voting against him.
All right, thank you very much, Richard Kojonyako, bringing us up to speed. And we will be bringing you some more. We're following the developments there in Cape Coast, and we'll be bringing you the updates as and when. But that'll be all. All right, so it's time for the news review, and Darama Kumsing has joined me, as I said. Thank you very much once again.
You're welcome, and good morning to all.
Oh, lovely.
Thank you, thank you.
We're doing pinky.
Yes, it's a pink month, you know. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yeah.
Yes, we try to raise awareness about breast cancer. So that's why we're urging a lot of women to check their breast. If you're married, let your husband check your breast for you. And if you're not, go get a mammogram to just make sure everything is in place and it's all right. Yeah.
So I'm one of those who will keep advocating that the husband and your partner should check your breast. But if you're not married, you can examine your breast yourself. If everybody can examine
their breast.
Yeah.
Yes. And let me use this opportunity to wish Israel Lai happy birthday. Today's Israel's birthday. So Israel.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
God bless you. All right.
Okay, let's get on with the newspapers now. So I'll start with the Daily Graphic. Debate on LGBTQ. Parliament's agenda set. Two groups in tango over the bill. So we know there are two groups. There are those who are supporting it, mainly made up of the religious leaders who have been to presented a bill. They're supporting that bill in Parliament. And then there's the other group that has also emerged that says, mainly made up of academics who are saying that no, we shouldn't tolerate a bill like that. So the two of them have both presented themselves to Parliament, their petitions to Parliament. So that's it. Now, another story on the front page of the Daily Graphic. 81,081 deployed for national service. And go to rollout of historic malaria vaccine for children begins. So that's that vaccine, historic vaccine, malaria vaccine. That's going to help significantly in Africa, curb malaria deaths in Africa. So, and okay, so this one other story has to do with Israel. So I'm going to bring it here. Reject AU's observer status. Palestine urges Ghana. Right, so we move on. Also international news. Biden piles pressure on congressional Republicans, SPD to open talks with parties. And UN accused of ignoring Yemen abuses. In gender, unwanted pregnancies increase unsafe abortions. Dr. Ali Samba speaking there. And Tor IMC vows to end graft. That story is on the front page of the Daily Graphic, but it's here on page 16. People say it's politics that is killing Tor, but I do not think so. The problem is about some members of staff who have created loopholes to profit illegally. So that's the IMC chairman of Tor, Norbert Anku, speaking there. And then the crash barriers that were stolen at the Pukashi interchange have been replaced. So, yes, that story is also on the front page of the Daily Graphic. Moving on, John Boydu calls for unity in MPP to consolidate gains. And this issue about the law school students or people seeking to gain admission to the law school being filled, we have the Roxing Nelson Dafiameko is a member of Parliament for South Dai. He says admit all students with the pass mark. And the story of the president extending the leave of absence for the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection is here.
Yeah.
On,
what does it say?
19. Well, essentially, president extends leave of absence for minister.
It didn't give any additional details because a lot of people have been asking. She's been away for a long time.
Yeah.
And, people were querying her whereabouts after her leave elapsed, and she still was not back at post. And
So
she was seen in a TikTok video singing,
But we actually have that TikTok video. Can you bring back that TikTok video? So this is the statement from the presidency extending the leave of absence. So apparently he had already applied for some leave of absence, and she has been granted. Now the president is saying that we extended the leave of absence ended on 31st August, as you can see in the statement.
Yeah.
But then the minister sought leave of absence for, well, they've extended the leave of absence essentially.
Yeah. But the leave of absence was for personal reasons.
For personal reasons.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're getting some information. Okay, sure.
TikTok video, yeah.
Nyame, why bido nyame? Hey, udini aye biafo, udini aye biafo, rade, dini aye biafo nyame. Enti rade yawade nibium. Hey, yesu yawade nibium.
All right, so there are those,
I love that song.
Okay, it's that by Dana Hamilton. Right?
Yes, it is.
So there are those who have seen the TikTok video and wondering, okay, if she's taking leave of absence, why are we seeing her? They would want to believe that it's because she probably has a challenge. But if we're seeing
it doesn't look like she has a challenge
it
from
doesn't
here.
Look like
and we're talking to some sources at organizations which work closely with the gender ministry, and they were saying that her absence had affected, payments and administrative issues. So,
Isn't there a deputy minister though?
Well, that's the question people are asking. But now the president has asked the sanitation minister to act as caretaker minister.
Okay. So it means that whichever companies or people are expecting payments, they should have that being fast tracked now. Right. In business, mining companies contemplate BOG's plan. Apparently, BOG has some plan. And SNIT starts Saturday services to improve client experience. Pilot project is in 9 branches in 3 regions. And the center spread Spain to train 120,000 people in the tourism sector. And President commissions 2 factories in the eastern region. Will make examination or practice unattractive. That's the WIC chairman speaking there. On the back page, ministry rolls out campaign against illegal fishing. All right, Araba.
Okay, so I'll take the Ghanaian Times, and on the front page, Christian bodies present memorandum in support of LGBTQ plus bill to Parliament. We brought you that story yesterday. Also, 3 die, others injured in an explosion at Durban oil mills. That story was also brought to you on Joy News yesterday. I'll bring you details of that. Also on the front page, Ghana and Spain to create 1 million tourism jobs in 3 years. That's good news because, unemployment is one of our challenges in this country. So let's go to the stories. On page 3, explosion at Durban oil mills, 3 die, others injured. It says 3 persons were killed and others seriously injured during an explosion at Durban oil mills in the Ashanti region yesterday. It's actually 6 people who were affected, but 3 have died. And the Ghanaian Times gathered that the incident happened at 10:30 p.m. on Tuesday when the boiler machine at the factory was said to have exploded following a mechanical fault. So that's sad news there. Also on page 3, robbers strike in Cape Coast, shoot victim and bolt with money. And Israel, we're seeing a lot of this kind of, modus operandi by the armed robbers.
Brazen attacks.
Broad daylight attacks. Very, very sad. Okay, so let's move to page 5, international news. Africa draws inspiration from China to curtail desertification, and gunfire disrupt Cameroon Prime Minister's visit to separatist region. On page 7, be tactical in selecting conflict mediators. That's coming from Eben Chambers, the former special representative of the UN there. Let's move to the middle pages that story of the Christian bodies presenting a memorandum in support of the LGBTQ plus bill to Parliament is there. Also, President inaugurates 3-story new Joabin North Municipal Assembly building. And WAEC chairman proposes stiffer punishment for exam malpractices. On the back page of the Ghanaian Times, Tribunal for Safeguarding Rights of Mentally Ill in the offing. And that story about Ghana and Spain to create 1 tourism jobs in 3 years is also here. So the government of Ghana and Spain, they've signed an MOU to create about 1 million jobs. And this is part of the strategies adopted by government through the Ministry of Tourism. So you can grab a copy of the Times and get the details there.
All right, we'll go to the Dispatch, and on the front page, Christian and Muslim religious cards will be played in MPP's flag bearer race. That's Ben F. Singh saying that. Then Captain Kojo Chikata at the National Reconciliation Commission 2004. So they're trying to bring back his appearance. The National Service releases 81,081 2021-2022 postings nationwide. So I'd want to get to the story on Christian and religious values playing up. So Ben F. Singh believes Bawumia stands a great... Okay, so before that, Ben F. Singh has indicated that the religious card will play a role in the MPP presidential race. He said Muslim card will unify the Muslims who may have been voting for another political party. And he said that MPP presidential elections will be interesting. Then he also has another story. There's also another story on the back page of the Daily Dispatch. It says, Ejapon, Gate, and Ejaku could help Bawumia beat Alan. That's Ben F. Singh saying that. So Ben F. Singh believes Bawumia stands a great chance of winning the primaries if Kennedy Ejapon and Ejaku contest. He says Alan Tremantin will lose votes to Kennedy Ejapon and Ejaku. Bawumia and Alan remain the top 2, he opines. So you can get some more detail on that in there. And then there's a story also here. OSP staff who want to get married will have their spouses vetted. That's Kisej.
That's interesting. Vetted,
right, so
why?
Special Prosecutor Kisej Jabing has disclosed that his office will run a background check on all staff who will be employed at the Office of the Special Prosecutor. According to him, this move is to ensure that whoever is employed there is not a security risk and will not jeopardize the work done in that office. Okay, that's interesting. There's more. You can get a copy of the Daily Dispatch to get the details.
Okay, so the Daily Guide now, and the big story on that paper, I like only fried rice with chicken, and that's coming from the Abyssine cannibal. Well, I don't know why they call him cannibal, because we haven't really seen him eating human parts. Yeah. But this is a story from the Bono region of the man who was caught with,
his nephew.
Exactly, kept human parts in a fridge. Also on the front page, 10 picked in Afiadeniba robbery, and Osubempa petitions AG. Let me bring you the story of the alleged cannibal. And it says that the man who became notorious for allegedly killing human beings and keeping the dismembered bodies parts in a refrigerator says he only eats fried rice with chicken. Richard Appiah, who is 28 years old, sent shockwaves across the country in August when he was caught keeping human body parts in a refrigerator at his room in Alaska, a suburb of Abyssine near Sunyai in the Bono region. And sources told Daily Guide that since coming into police custody, Appiah only insists on eating fried rice with chicken and will eat nothing else apart from the popular food. So there's more in the Daily Guide. Also, President commissioned 6.2 million Ghana shoe factory, and this was in Ikuapem North District, where in the eastern region where he's on a tour. The story of the robbers picked up in the Volta region is also there. Let's go to page 6, and it has the Osubempa story. And so it says the lawyers for Mr. Osubempa have resolved to petition the AG over what they call irregularities in their client's trial. The lead lawyer, Gary Namakumafo, says he doesn't understand why the police decided to separate the case and put before different courts when the alleged crime was committed at the same time and flowing from the same event. So that story is on page 6 of the Daily Guide. In the middle pages, page 8, there's an interesting story. So I was actually happier when I was poor. That's coming from Akon, the popular singer Akon.
Okay.
He says, the Senegalese-American singer. He says that he was much happier when he was poor because life is tougher for the poor, for the rich than the poor. Really?
How's that?
How's that? He's saying that being successful comes with a lot of problems. Nobody can sit there and tell me that I didn't go through poverty. I was a young African kid, you know, barefoot and playing soccer with no electricity and water. I knew what that looked like. Believe me, I know what poverty looks like. But I also know what success looks like. And from my personal experience, I'm having more problems successfully dealing with all of that comes with success than I had when I was poor. Obviously, what did Biggie say?
More money, more problems.
More money, more problems.
Yeah, but you know, I'm sure there are lots of poor people who'd love to swap places with Akon.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'd love to swap places with him.
All right, let's go to the business finder. 1D1F President commissioned 6.2 million CD shoe manufacturing factory. And this headline then reminds me of the Kumasi shoe factory. We had what's happening to that factory?
We need to go back to that.
Okay, so that's the main story on the front page. Also, deal to sharpen entrepreneurial skills of tourism, arts, and culture ecosystem signed. And exploit climate change prospects to build economies. That'll be all for the stories for me on the business finder.
Okay. On the Daily Statesman, the big story there, 6.2 million Ghana cedi 1D1F shoe factory takes off. That's in the eastern region. Ibri Gardens to be redeveloped, according to the president. 2021-2022 NSS postings out. Service begins October 11th. And police alert workers conspiring. Police alert workers are conspiring with robbers to rob companies. That's quite interesting. So people in, you know, big companies, organizations are conspiring with the armed robbers. Wow, that's quite serious and something we should look into. The story about the president extending the gender minister's leave is also there. And let's go to page 8 says Communications Minister inaugurates NCA board, and government and Guta await Nigeria's position on retail traders' disagreements. And on the back page, Nations League finals, who, what, where, why, and when. All those questions answered.
All right, and let's go to the Business and Financial Times. Cocoa farmers to get $400 US dollars living income differential. That's Cocoa Board saying that. And business confidence declines over economic challenges. Okay, so that's on page 2. I'd like to read a bit of that. So, yeah, it says, for a fourth consecutive survey this year, the central bank's measure of the sentiments of business owners in the country has shown a dwindling confidence, citing economic challenges which have increased cost of production, created raw material shortage, weak consumer demand, among others, as reason. Per the September 2021 summary of economic and financial data, the latest business confidence survey conducted in August 2021 depicts that optimism of businesses has consistently declined from baseline level of 100% to 93.2%, from 97.9%. All right, but yeah, it's an issue. You should be wary of that. If the businesses are saying this, then you, private individuals, you should be mindful. And I would say, whatever incomes you have, whatever monies you have, you should hold on to it tight and not wastefully spend. All right, also on the front page of the Business and Financial Times, Tourism Ministry partners Spain for skills development. Global Cargo and Commodities wins 2 2021 Shippers Awards. That'll be it for me in the Business and Financial Times. Let's get to the Major Online and get to check out some of the stories that we have there. Police on a manhunt for 4 suspected armed robbers who shot and stole money from a man in Cape Coast. And then Akufo-Addo extends gender minister's leave, sanitation minister to act. And fight breaks out at MPP delegates conference in Bono East region. Minority caucus to launch probe into 10.4 million CD loss at Tor. UK eases coronavirus travel advice for Ghana and 31 other countries.
Also, we took 2,500 cedis each from DCE nominee, but voted against him. That's according to a Shama Assembly member. So what it is that they are collecting the monies but still voting the way they want to vote. GLC should have been scrapped in the 1960s, former School of Law director. And UK eases, did you say that? Okay. And GLC must not compel law students to sign away ability to challenge exam results. That's from Ansar Asari.
So the MC nominee, the DC nominee who the people of Shama voted against, so he essentially took the money, 2,500 cedis. Is that what is happening? They're bribing the assembly members to vote.
Okay.
Okay, and then there's spots this other story, which is in the top right corner. 4 multimedia group journalists nominated for 2021 West Africa Media Excellence Awards. And yes, please, let's click on that and take a closer look at it, because in there we have Arabakum Singh in the middle, and there's Kwame Boateng, and then Kwesi Deborah of... so the story goes...
There's also Kwete Nate as well, who's been nominated.
4 journalists with the multimedia group have been mentioned as a finalist for the 2021 edition of the prestigious West Africa Media Excellence Awards for Mecca 2021. The Media Foundation for West Africa, Wednesday, announced the list of finalists for the 2021 edition of the prestigious West Africa Media Excellence Awards. Join News' Arabakum Singh, Seth Kwame Boateng, Emmanuel Kwesi Deborah, and investigative journalist Kwete Nate were among the 5 named Ghanaians. All right, so congratulations to you, Arabakum Singh.
Thank you.
Seth Kwame Boateng, Kwesi Deborah, and Kwete Nate. You didn't see Kwete Nate's image there because, we keep his photos out.
He's an investigative journalist.
Yeah. All right, but congratulations once again. And thank you for joining me for the news review.
Always a pleasure.
So we're taking a break to bring you sports. Do stay tuned in, but we have the show coming up, and we're talking about wealth and health and poverty. Do stay tuned in. Right, so the international poverty rate in Ghana as of 2021 was forecast at 11.3%, considering the 2011 poverty line set at $1.90 or $1.90. The same rate was forecast for 2022, which represented a slight increase compared to 2019, when the poverty rate was measured at 11.1%. Overall, no significant change in the population's percentage living on up to $1.90 per day was expected in the years following 2019. The coronavirus pandemic and its impact on economic activities have contributed to the slowly improving poverty levels registered in the country since 2020. UNICEF conducted a research on what citizens consider as causes of poverty in Ghana, and the answers are interesting. We'll be getting into details of this report, but first, we posted on Facebook asking you what you think is the cause of poverty. So we posted, what do you think is the #1 cause of poverty in Ghana? And let me go through some of the comments that we have there. So Soma says, what else do you think causes poverty? When one person steals huge sums of money, which can't be calculated in cedis but in dollars. Okay. Gilia Sempa says, poor sanitation, corruption, and selfish leaders. Kate Hoffman says, our democracy is the main cause of the poverty in our country. Azari says, government, bad policies and investments. As in bad investments, I'm sure is what you mean. Now, Odenhu Apia also says, greed and selfishness of politicians. Dawda Ibrahim says, bad leadership, selfishness, and greed on the part of leaders. Majid says, favoritism and nepotism coupled with selective justice. Richard says, nepotism and corruption. Kwesi Andrew says, bad, selfish leadership. Eunice Abaya says, selfish and self-centered leaders. Yeboah Benjamin also says the number one cause of poverty in Ghana is our collective greed, which is closely followed by lack of proper planning. There's every reason for a country with a citizenry who find it convenient to steal crash barriers from a newly constructed national road infrastructure to be poor. All right, so those are some of the comments that you've shared. But joining us is Professor Abdul Gafaru Abdullahi. They actually conducted the research, and he has a lot more information on that. So thank you very much. So what was the motivation for this research? And before all of that, though, I must say that your research found that for most people, they thought that corruption was the number one cause of poverty. I just want you to highlight that for us.
Okay, thanks very much. Can you please hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so first and foremost, let me make it very clear that the research didn't set out, with the primary objective of understanding or the main objective of understanding the causes of poverty. It was the overall objective of the research that was commissioned by UNICEF Ghana and conducted by a couple of researchers at the University of Ghana was to understand the knowledge and perceptions of Ghanaians around issues of poverty, vulnerability, social protection, and so on. And this particular question was actually just one of the questions in the survey which tried to understand or to explore the perceptions of Ghanaians in terms of what they thought to be the topmost kind of causes of poverty. And we asked this question in a certain context. I'm sure many of us would recall that when the President Kufuor-led administration launched the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty program, the LEAP program in March 2008, there were a lot of discussions, a lot of concerns that this is actually not the way that Ghana should be going, because programs like this were likely to deepen or cause poverty among the poor, make them lazy. So our interest in asking that kind of question was to understand the extent to which the extent to which Ghanaians still hold that kind of perception, that social protection forms, of various forms of social protection support, and particularly cash transfer programs like the LEAP, were seen to be an important kind of cause of poverty. So we asked the question in an open-ended manner, but then provided a number of options, asking Ghanaians to rate the various factors in terms of what they thought to be the number one and the least kind of causes of poverty, and corruption actually topped the list in terms of the outcome of the survey results. And we just wanted to see the extent to which Ghanaians blame poverty on the poor themselves. In other words, if you look at the literature on the causes of poverty, we have kind of endogenous and exogenous factors of poverty. There are those who would simply blame the poor for being lazy. They are just poor because they are not interested in work and they are lazy. So to what extent are these kind of internal factors kind of seem to be the primary drivers of poverty in Ghana, as opposed to factors that are outside of the control of the poor? So we wanted to weigh these kind of two broad notable causes of poverty, and the external factors, most notable issues around corruption, top the list as the foremost cause of poverty in Ghana.
And it's actually obvious from so we put up the post on Facebook, and from most of the comments that we're getting, most people agree with you that indeed corruption is the number one cause of poverty. But can you share with us the sample size and regions you focused on in this research?
So the project was conducted in 6 districts. And the survey targeted nearly around 700 respondents. And we combined a whole lot of methods. So we conducted a survey, but we also conducted a lot of focus group discussions in each of these districts. So the regions, we selected the 6 districts from were 2 in the Greater Accra region, 2 in the Upper West region and 2 in the Volta region. And in addition to the survey, we conducted key informant interviews with a wide range of actors, from the national, regional, all the way to the district level. So these were the specific areas where we collected the data. And the objective was to make sure that we cover the 3 broad geographical zones of Ghana, the southern, middle, and the northern belts of Ghana in terms of the coverage of the data collection processes.
All right, so we've identified corruption as one of the main causes of poverty, but there were others. Let's look at the others that the people stated.
Well, yes, there were other factors, but if you look at the first kind of 3, so the first was actually issues of corruption, and just to emphasize that in addition to the survey findings that you have just reported from your followers, I mean, this is also in line with all kinds of global level surveys that have been conducted. I mean, whether you're talking of the Afrobarometer survey data, or you're looking at the World Governance indicators, or the Ibrahim Index on African Governance, the Transparency Corruption Perception Index, and so on and so forth. I mean, all of these surveys actually tend to paint the same picture, namely that Ghana is actually not winning the fight against corruption. The other key factors that came up related to low political commitment on the part of the political elite to fighting corruption, government's inability to provide enough job opportunities for the masses. The fee factor, which actually put the blame on the poor, focus on the issue of having too many children. I mean, there's that perception that many poor people tend to have too many children, which sort of tend to deepen their poverty further. The issue of laziness came up, but it was ranked 8th among the 10 factors so laziness among the poor is still seen to be one cause of poverty, but of course rated far behind most of the other factors that sort of put the blame on structural factors, on external factors like issues of corruption, like issues of limited commitment, inadequate investment towards poverty reduction efforts, and so on.
Professor Abdullahi, did the people, or do you give the people an opportunity to explain why they would say, for instance, that corruption in the public sector or corruption in Ghana is one of the main causes of poverty?
Well, yeah, so as I mentioned, the research was conducted using mixed methods research. So we conducted interviews and we tried to find out. And one key response, and which many of us are somehow familiar with, and again, when I was listening to your survey data, the issue people putting the blame on democracy.
Right.
The issue is not democracy as such, but the form in which democracy has actually taken in Ghana. So one cannot put the blame on democracy as a system of governance per se, but democracy has taken a certain form that tends to deepen corruption in our specific context. I mean, first and foremost, if you have a situation where the cost of campaigning is several times higher than what a politician can earn through salaries and so on and so forth, you have a situation where political entrepreneurs are emerging. In other words,
I like the term political entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I mean, because people have to invest. If there's no state funding of political parties, the politician needs resources to campaign, and the cost of campaigns, I mean, is getting higher and higher. So someone is actually responsible for funding that campaign. Once the politician comes into power, I will certainly need to recoup my investment. So in that case, I am more or less an entrepreneur investing in politicians with the expectation that once my party comes into power, I will have various ways of recouping that investment. I mean, that is why in most cases, the manner in which procurement processes are done in this country, we tend to privilege issues of sole sourcing and so on and so forth, because someone has to, somehow the resources for funding the political machinery would need to be found. And this is one key kind of point that repeatedly came up. And we have a situation, that kind of a situation where the winner takes all. If you lose an election, it's like you've lost literally everything. And if you win an election, it means more or less that you've won literally everything, because you have access to all forms of state resources. So that's zero-sum character of our politics. The fact that the campaign cost is actually rising, there is no state funding of political parties, and somehow the politicians certainly need to find ways of funding the political campaigns. And many of our development problems, actually, you cannot separate from the manner in which democracy has actually taken form in Ghana. We've been talking of illegal money. We know one of the major causes, or one of the major reasons why our political parties have actually struggled to curb problems like illegal mining is the fact that all of these illegalities actually contribute in some ways to sustaining politicians in power, to helping and kind of financing political parties in a way that enable them to win and maintain political power. So the issue of democracy, just as in your survey, came up, but not in that particular form, because the reality is that is not simply the issue of democracy versus non-democracy, but is the form in which kind of democracy has taken shape in Ghana. Scholars have kind of described our political context as one of competitive clientelism. Our political parties are competing in using clientelist means of winning and maintaining political power. So it's the very form that democracy has taken in the Ghanaian context.
So again, staying with the form, essentially from what you're telling us, so that these political entrepreneurs invest so that when the politicians assume power, they want to have their share. By having their share, often in corrupt means, they're depriving the resources that would be available for the general population to improve income levels. Is that correct?
That is one key point. The other angle of it is that, just take a look at how we pursue corrupt politicians in this country. I remember Prof. Jumabedi once used the terminology post-incumbency accountability. Because of the importance of party financiers for the survival of political parties, it's very rare, it's extremely rare for any of our two dominant political parties to have the courage to be able to prosecute politicians from their own political parties. And that's the main reason why we often see that kind of phenomenon where politicians are corrupt actors are only actually pursued only when after their party leaves in power. So all of these actually have to do with the fact that those who finance these political parties are extremely important for the survival of the political elite, and therefore, in addition to denying the state the needed resources to develop, once someone who is deemed to be an important financier or an important personality within the political party, parties rarely have the courage and the commitment to prosecute them in a way that would serve as a deterrent to other. So all of these actually play out in making it very difficult in curbing grand corruption, or if you like, political corruption in the Ghanaian context.
Okay, which then contributes to poverty. The second item on the list, or the second factor they brought up, has to do with sickness. How are they linking that to poverty?
So it's essentially about physical disability. The whole idea is that once you are physically disabled, the probability that you would be poor is extremely high, because one, we know that a sick person cannot be economically productive. And what that essentially means is that you are much more liable to poverty. And that is why poverty is much higher among vulnerable populations like the physically disabled, like the sick in the Ghanaian context. So it was actually kind of linked to issues of one's inability to be productive. In the first place, government has to provide the opportunities, but you need to be healthy enough to be able to take advantage of whatever opportunities that the state is able to provide. So sickness and physical disability came up as one main factor that respondents also highlighted as an important cause of poverty.
Okay, but it's also interesting that it came in second after corruption in society. That's quite interesting, isn't it?
Absolutely so. And for us, it was also, I mean, somehow surprising. But exploring further through the qualitative interviews, the key explanation had been that once you are physically disabled, once you are sick, what it means essentially is that you are necessarily reliant on other actors to survive. What it means essentially is that in most cases, and so long as you are not actually economically productive yourself, the probability that you will be poor is high because it depends to the extent to which you will be able to rely, for example, on maybe family members and other forms of various forms of state support. And some of these questions were also actually asked in a certain context because we're also interested in finding out the extent to which or the populations within the Ghanaian context who were likely to be poor, and why certain vulnerable, why certain segments of the population actually tend to be poorer than others. So this was one other key reason why respondents actually highlighted issues of sickness and physical disability as a major cause of poverty in our context.
3. So item 3 and 4, or the factors 3 and 4 are those that you can say that, well, government would have, or the state would have to do something about it. But then when you come to item 5, it talks about having too many children, and that's also quite interesting. But that clearly it's something that we can do something about. I think if you happen to have too many children, then you're likely to end up being poor. So if you would want to control the number of children you have, it can improve your situation.
Well, yes. So for respondents, I mean, one of the reasons why poverty also persists in our communities is because the poor are those who tend to have a lot more children than those who are relatively kind of wealthy. So in that context, what it meant essentially was that the poor also have some responsibility in terms of helping themselves out of their situation. I mean, issues around birth control, for example, as a potential measure, because if you are poor and you have a lot more dependents, what it means is that you need more resources to feed the several hands, the several people at hand. And that can actually exacerbate your poverty situation because you will need a lot more to be able to feed your family, and that in turn makes it very difficult for you to get out of poverty yourself.
Item is elite lack of sensitivity. Please explain that to us.
Whole idea, I mean, it's linked to the issue of limited political commitment. Meaning, I mean, and again, just reflecting over the survey, the quick survey you just conducted earlier this morning, when people are putting their hands on issues of greed, the idea of people actually being fixated about enhancing their own social and economic status. I mean, many Ghanaians don't think that people go into politics with the primary motive of helping the poor out of their situation, but I mean, as a way of investment, as a way of business. In other words, you get into it with the objective that you will be able to make life better for yourself and for your family. Of course, there could be, and there are a couple of exceptions, but the general perception is that elites don't go into politics with the objective of making life better for the underprivileged in society, but the primary motive is to get wealthier and wealthier. I mean, and you can look at our data, you can look at the statistics being churned out by the Ghana Statistical Service in terms of the problem of widening inequality in Ghana. So whereas I mean, the data shows that poverty is reducing, issues of inequality are actually rising. Inequality is rising in Ghana, meaning that the poor is getting poorer and the richer is getting richer. So this idea of lack of sensitivity, a little lack of or limited elite sensitivity towards the poor was pointing to the very factor that came up in your quick survey this morning, the issue of greed.
Then we also have limited opportunities and laziness and lack of motivation.
Yeah, so limited opportunities for jobs. So the idea, so again, is one of the external factors that people would put on those who have the mandate to govern. The fact that there are very limited productive kind of opportunities. We know our unemployment situation. There are a whole lot of people out there who are keen in working, but the opportunities for productive or gainful employment are just so limited. So that was the point to which that was speaking to. And the next factor, just kind of getting back to some of the earlier debates in the mid 2000s, the mid to late 2000s, when the LEAP was launched, and concerns were raised about issues of laziness, that if governments launch programs like cash transfer programs that would be dishing out monies directly to poor people, it will contribute to deepening poverty. Of course, the various evaluations of the LEAP have actually demonstrated that this is actually not really a serious concern. On the contrary, these programs are actually contributing to reducing poverty. And if you actually look at the amount of money that beneficiaries get, you wonder how that can actually encourage laziness among the poor. LEAP beneficiary, a LEAP beneficiary is entitled to around 64 Ghana cedis every month. That translates to about 1 Ghana cedi. About 1 Ghana cedi a day.
Yeah.
How will 1 Ghana cedi a day make you lazy? How on earth would somebody, by virtue of gaining access to 1 Ghana cedi, become lazy and refuse to work? I don't see how that will happen. And this is also an amount that the amount is never adjusted. And pay me, trust me, this 1 Ghana cedi a day is what governments have been given since 2015. Between 2015 and today is several years. Between that time and now, the daily minimum wage has increased by about 41%. The LEAP grant has remained actually stagnant. How will such an amount, how will 1 Ghana cedi a day in 2015, 1 Ghana cedi a day in 2021 really make someone lazy? Of course, there are still people who think that there are some people in Ghana who are poor because they are just not working hard enough. But of course, in many cases, the opportunities have to be there before one can actually take advantage of them. And the reality is that the opportunities for productive, gainful employment, we all know, are very, very limited.
Professor Abdullahi, let's also look at the perceptions of poverty and vulnerability and what you also found out. So the most common factors that render people vulnerable, as we have it on your screen right now, says just bad luck, including destiny and curse. So you ask the people, is that very important or not important? 22% felt that it was very important, and not so important, 35.3%. So yes, essentially meaning that just bad luck, including destiny and curse, doesn't really play such a key role. Inimical cultural practices, 29% felt that it was very important, which is also quite interesting, isn't it?
No, absolutely. So again, we asked this question in a certain context, and we also wanted to see the extent to which one's vulnerability can be attributed to the vulnerable himself. In other words, to what extent am I responsible for my own vulnerable kind of situation? To what extent do I have control of myself? So if you look at the factors, from bottom, the one key factor that kind of topped in the list was the issue of severe disability. Once you are severely disabled, the probability that you will be vulnerable is extremely high. And you see only 2.4% of respondents indicating that that it is not important.
Yeah.
Meaning that the more severe disability is considered as the #1 factor that renders people liable to issues of vulnerability.
And that actually beats unemployment.
Absolutely, absolutely so. Unemployment follows next. And the last factor you were looking at, so again, it just gives us a certain sense of how people think. Namely, I mean, so if you look at the last, I mean, the point about bad luck or issues of destiny or curse, and again, the literature refers to some of these as important causes of issues of poverty and vulnerability. And you can see that only kind of a minor segment of the population, in other words, only a few number of respondents felt that this is really a very serious or a very important cause of or a factor that actually renders people vulnerable in the Ghanaian context. So when you are unemployed, you are likely to be very vulnerable. When you are severely disabled, you are likely to be very vulnerable. When natural disasters actually occur, the extent to which that can render you vulnerable is high. So we projected or kind of prepared the graph according to, I mean, how important the various factors were identified, and issues of bad weather conditions and so on and so forth all came up, but trailing much, I mean, farther behind problems like unemployment and issues of severe disability.
All right, so there's a lot to chew on, Professor Abdullahi, but how would you expect the state, or, you know, how do you expect that we use this information and the data that you've gathered to inform policy making?
Well, so this project is actually part of a larger program that is being implemented. So this study was like a kind of a baseline study.
All right.
A baseline study to understand where we are, where are we now, and then the next step would be to actually think through what can be done around many of these problems that are being identified. So that there's a larger program that is actually aimed at sensitizing the general public, aimed at kind of working closely with key policy makers to be able to help identify. So this was just a kind of a beginning of a larger program that is aimed at kind of seeking to understand the knowledge and perceptions of Ghanaians about around issues of poverty, issues of social protection, and the role of social protection, for example, in addressing problems like poverty and vulnerability. But there is a larger campaign that that UNICEF is actually leading to make sure that these issues are carried through further with a whole lot of other partners involved, from media, from civil society organizations, from academia, and so on. So I guess one of the programs is actually, one of the projects is actually going to focus on issues of sensitization around many of these, and working very closely with the key policymakers who are responsible for addressing these kind of challenges.
All right, so let's get back to Facebook and our unscientific survey and get to see some of the comments that people have been sharing. Of course, we've already gone through them, and they largely agree with your research or the study that you did, that indeed corruption is one of the main factors that contributes to poverty in this country. Let's see some of the others. Of course, they also talk about greed and a whole lot more as factors having to contribute to. We'll get you the comments a little later, but I want to thank you very much, Professor Abdullahi, for joining us to take us through the findings that you had, and we appreciate your time with us this morning here on the AM show. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much.
All right. And now, closely related to poverty is health. In fact, they are related. We'll be talking about that when we come back from this break. All right, so we're going back to our Facebook post, which was asking you what are the causes of poverty in Ghana. And we've already identified corruption as one of them. A lot of you have also talked about greed. But let's get to see the other comments that you have shared with us. So Immaculate says, high birth rate by the poor, which indeed was one of the things that was captured in the survey. Mismanagement of the economy, embezzlement of state funds, and greed, which has come up many times already. Poor leadership. Okay, so they say media, religion, and politics. Okay, I don't know how the media comes in there. And let's check out the other comments. Wallace says, Ghana government, both MPP and NDC, with their bad leadership. And Abdul Rauf says, greed. The crew says the number one cause is our president refuses to create jobs for the youth, but rather creating jobs for their families. So you're meaning unemployment, and you're talking about greed at the same time. Sebig says leadership. Adolfo says our leaders are the cause. And Ata Adesing says corruption and religion. And the religion bit is interesting. Thomas Kesse says honesty. And Faisal Clinton says bad leadership. All right, so we're also going to give you an opportunity for those of you who are watching who want to call in. You call in and let us know what you think is the main cause of poverty in Ghana. Let's see if the comments that you have or the position that you're taking is any different from what we've already picked up from Facebook and from what we have on the survey conducted by UNICEF. So the numbers to call, 030-221-1691 or 2. The numbers are on your screen. So give us a call and let's hear you out. But closely related to the poverty conversation is health. And that conversation we'll be getting on with that right after we take your calls. So yes, you let us know where you're calling from and let's hear you out on this issue for many people. They feel it's greed. The others who are citing several other things. We have Che Bafo calling from Jaso, our very first caller. Good morning to you, Che Bafo.
Yeah, Israel, I want to add up to what Prof said.
All right.
I want to add up that the leave payment, the 60 cedis, is not for a person. It's for a whole household.
All right. It's
leave
true.
Payments are made for a household, not for a single person. So imagine that a household that has about 5, 6 people, they depend on that 60 cedis. Thank you very much.
So it can't make, essentially you're saying that it can't make them lazy.
That's not possible. That's not possible at all.
Yeah.
That's not possible at all.
All right. Thank you very much, Che Bafo. Who else do we have on the line? We have Albert calling from Jolu. Hello, Albert.
Hello, Israel.
All right, so what's your position on it? What do you think are the main causes of poverty?
Number one is religion. There is a quotation in the Bible that says, pastors normally preach, say, go and multiply. Go and multiply. In that context, they try to tell the congregation that go and give birth to many as that comes, without telling them that go and work hard and take care of the ones that you can actually take care of.
Okay.
So the poor in the congregation continues to give birth as many as they can, as many as comes. So you realize that the poor rather in the congregation are giving more birth, and the problems keep compounding, so that you see them, they sit at the back, they rather beg the people who have something small in the church. So religion is the number one cause.
All right. Thank you very much, Albert. We have Kwesi also calling us. He's calling from Kologo. Hello, Kwesi.
Join news, please.
Yes, Kwesi.
Yeah.
All right. So, what do you make of the...
of poverty in Ghana.
Yes.
And I want to add to that. The people, the corruption is too much. Corruption. And then they look down upon we, the people. And I want to add to the what the professor was saying, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. Please, the professor was saying that the corruption and then the destiny and then what do we call it?
Bad luck.
So,
yeah, hello, we're listening to you. All right, we seem to have lost you. We have Seidu calling from Kwame Danso. Hello, Seidu.
Yes, please. Good morning.
All right, good morning. And what's your take on it?
Please, looking at what is happening in Ghana right, please. We have greedy people enough in this country, especially those selling the items. Maybe the item doesn't cost high, but immediately they go bring it, they raise it.
Okay.
The prices.
Okay.
So greedy and the politics, they are the cause of the poverty in this country.
Okay, thank you very much, Seidu, calling us from Kwame Danso. Let's see who else we have on the line to speak to this issue. You can call us to 030-221-1691 or 2. We have Abubakar calling us from the northern region. Hello, Abubakar.
Hello.
Yes.
My problem is, it is about the political interest that cause. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, Abubakar.
Yeah, it is about the political interest that cause all that. How
is the political interest related to the poverty or causing the poverty?
The reason is when it due to the we the poor, we involve ourselves too much. When we involve ourselves, they use.
No,
when it's with the politics.
Okay, it looks like you're listening to us
to
on TV. I want you to turn off your TV so you can hear us, so that when you speak, you don't get confused.
We will not support it.
Okay. All right, we couldn't quite get you. We have Jima calling from Sunyani. Hello, Jima.
Yeah, Israel, good morning.
Good morning.
And good morning to your viewers as well.
Good morning.
Yeah, I said, hello?
Yes, we can hear you. But
Yeah,
when you call, please turn off the TV or mute the TV so that you don't get confused when you're talking and there's feedback.
Yeah, my TV is off.
All right.
Yeah, I share in the view that poverty, stop. I share in that view because corruption is actually the cause of poverty in our country.
Yeah.
Likely because if you look at it, we have so many people who have completed schools. After suffering to go through the educational system, they are qualified. Currently, it's difficult for them to even secure well-paid jobs. Yes, and so these people live several years without getting jobs. And those have families to attend to. And all of us as a country, we are pretending. Seriously, Israel, some of the things that are happening nowadays, they are serious. People have to pay huge sums of money after they have completed school to get jobs. Why in the first place are they good to get money to pay for it? If they were having it, why would they even be looking for works again at the government sector?
Yes.
But these are the things we are confronted with. So it keeps on piling poverty incidents in the country, and we don't really know what we will do with it.
All right, thank you very much, Jima. You make a good point. We have Nuru from Tamale. Nuru is going to be our last caller. Hello, Nuru. Hello, Nuru. Okay, we lost Nuru. But yes, so closely related to poverty and is health. If you're not healthy, you're likely to find yourself being in a situation where you're not so financially stable, and that worsens your situation when it comes to poverty. It's a conversation we're going to be having, and we'll do that right after this quick break. To stay tuned. All right, you're still here on the AM show, and it is said that health is wealth, which will then also mean that if you're not healthy, you could drain your wealth. So what are the main health issues we're having to deal with in Ghana? Of course, we have malaria, and we found a vaccine for malaria, which is great. But there's also cancer in its various forms. Breast cancer gets a lot of attention, but then liver cancer, which is also an issue and accounts for 14.4% of all the cancers recorded in the country, receives very little attention. So alcoholism can destroy your liver and drain your finances too as you consume more of the alcohol. We've been joined by Theobald Usuansan, the president of the Hepatitis Foundation. He lost some relatives to liver cancer and vowed to be part of the solution. He's joined us in the studio. Good morning to you, and thank you for making time to speak with us.
Yeah, good morning.
All right, so we also have Dr. Amaku Dua, a gastrologist from the UGMC, and he's joining us via Zoom. Good morning to you, Dr. Dua.
Hello, good morning, Israel.
All right.
And thank you for the opportunity to join in this discussion.
Yeah. So why do you think that liver cancer gets that little attention?
I think for me, it's about education and then the publicity, okay? Because we hear a lot about breast cancer because more people are involved in making sure that people get to know about breast cancer. The same thing applies to prostate and then the cervical cancer. But I think when it comes to liver cancer, we don't hear much because probably people are not really supporting us to ensure that people get education concerning liver cancer. That's why probably we don't hear a lot about liver cancer in this country.
What should we know about liver cancer, Dr. Dia?
What we should know is that, you see, when it comes to cancers in this country, putting all cancers together, liver cancer is the second commonest cause of cancer diagnosed in this country. The first one is breast cancer, followed by liver cancer. If you take men alone, liver cancer is the first commonest cause of cancer in men. And when it comes to women, it's the third commonest cause of cancer in women. But when it comes to cancer death, liver cancer kills more than any cancer in this country. So the number one cause of cancer death in this country is liver cancer. And the worst about it is that it's killing the productive age group. I mean, the youth and then the middle age in this country that are taking care of their family. So looking at the median age at which people are affected with liver cancer in this country is 44 years. And most of the time when it is diagnosed, by the time it get diagnosed, it's at advanced stage. So the median survivor is 2.5 months. Okay, so we are losing more and more people from liver cancer. Those are their productive age group, and also because it's an internal organ, and when something is happening to it, you don't really see it early. By the time it comes to the attention of the people, and then they come to the hospital, by the time we diagnose, it's at the advanced.
We seem to have lost Dr. Dia, but we'll try and get him on the line back again, restore that connection to him. But Theobald, let's come to you. At what point did you decide to get involved? You indicated that you lost some relatives, and was that the main motivation?
Yeah, that's the main motivation. In 2008, I lost about 4 of my family members to hepatitis. And you know, most of the liver cancer problem is caused by hepatitis. So initially we thought that it was a case because the mode of the symptoms are the same. And when you go to Antonia Ma, there's a case, you see the symptoms. So we thought that, oh, maybe somebody has cursed him or her. So we were not paying more attention.
What is it that you see that makes you think that it's a case?
Yeah, swallow of the legs and stomach too. And when he's talk, you can see bad breath from his mouth, and yellowish of the eyes too. So we thought that is a case. But later on, when I called my dad, he's a professor in the US, and he told me, no, it's not a case. It's hepatitis. So I asked myself, what is hepatitis? I don't know anything about hepatitis in 2008. So I just went through the net and search if I can get any NGO who is campaigning against hepatitis, and I didn't came across any NGO. Most of the NGOs are onto HIV, malaria, TB, by hepatitis 0. So okay, I decided, okay, if there's no NGO who is campaigning against this disease, and this disease came a lot of people, so why don't you form an organization? So I started small, and that I made it to Bad Hepatitis B Foundation. And later on, 2010, the foundation has grown to become an international organization. So other partners decided, no, till when you add your name, you look at personal organization. So let's make it Hepatitis Foundation of Ghana, purposely for people who are living with liver cancer and hepatitis in Ghana.
Okay.
So that's the main motivation that I decided to set up this foundation to help people.
And what has this foundation been doing so far since you set it up?
Yeah, when we started this foundation, that time there were no program manager at Ghana Health Service. When you go to Ghana Health Service, you don't have focal person you can talk to. And we don't have any policy because everybody was doing anything. So we decided to pressure that time the Director General of Ghana Health Service to come out with a policy. So in 2012, with support from Roche, they were able to, they came out with a policy to guard hepatitis. In 2014, they came with a guideline how to treat hepatitis. And the foundation too has also helped the patient. We link them to care, like Dr. Mwakundia. If you go to Kolebu right now, it will take you 6 months before you get a doctor. But if you pass through the foundation, because we are working with the doctors and they are also part of the organization, we can able to help you get access to treatment and also quality and affordable treatment. We also have some partnership with the pharma companies we are working with. Instead of selling the drugs to maybe 2,000 or 1,000 Ghana cedis, it is okay. Now we have a lot of people who are living with hepatitis, so why don't you reduce the price so the majority of people can get access to the treatment? So the foundation have also able to talk to other partners in outside the country. Now, if they develop liver cancer is very expensive. Liver transplant is very, very expensive. Now we have doctors in Egypt who will not charge anything. What you have to do is that you take it and donor. If you can get somebody who can donate some of the liver, then you are good to go. Okay. So the foundation is doing a whole lot of things to help the country.
Okay. Let's go back to Dr. Dua, who we have re-established a connection to him. Dr. Dua, so we know about alcoholism, but apparently hepatitis B also has a role to play. Can you explain to us how these things are linked?
So when it comes to causes of liver cancer in this country, hepatitis B is the commonest cause. I mean, it's about 70 to 80% of all those who develop liver cancer in this country is as a result of hepatitis B. And this is followed by excessive intake of alcohol. And what is it is that alcohol is toxic to the liver. So it destroys the liver cells and it can lead to what we call liver cirrhosis. And when you develop liver cirrhosis, it becomes a major risk factor for the development of cancer of the liver. So that is the reason why alcohol also causes cancer of the liver. So if you have hepatitis B and you drink excessively at the same time, it means that you have a double risk, and it makes the chance of you getting liver cancer very high.
So when it comes to alcoholism, we can do something about it, as in avoid excessive intake of alcohol. But what can we do when it comes to hepatitis B?
So for hepatitis B too, something can be done about it.
All right.
Because what we can do is that first we can prevent someone from getting hepatitis B because we have vaccines available that we can give at the time somebody is born. So childhood immunization is there. And then even in adults, when you screen and you realize that you are negative of hepatitis B, vaccination is there and it's very effective in preventing someone from acquiring hepatitis B. And then also those who test positive. I mean, there is treatment available. And if you put these patients on treatment, it prevents them from developing cirrhosis of the liver and then also liver cancer. So this means that liver cancer is preventable. Okay, is one of the preventable cancers that we know.
So you also mentioned earlier that when it comes to liver cancer, but men are more predisposed to that. I'm curious, is it because you mentioned hepatitis B as well as one of the main cause? So how come men are so predisposed? If it was just the alcoholism, then I'll say more men drink, so that's how come they are more predisposed. But I'm trying to understand how the hepatitis B and the alcoholism is making men so predisposed.
So when it comes to men more predisposed to cancer of the liver, I think that one mainly is a genetic issue.
All right.
Okay, so I mean, there are certain diseases that tends to affect men more than women. And there are certain diseases too that affect women more than men. So I think it's more like a gender issue playing into it. Why men get it more than women, as at now, is not that understandable.
All right. So, but then what you would advise is that you should screen for hepatitis B and get the vaccine. And if you're also an alcoholic too, you have to watch your intake.
Yes. So the main way of preventing liver cancer is first, as we are doing now, education.
All right.
Let people understand that liver cancer is there, it's killing more people, and the risk factors or the causes of liver cancer are known. And these causes can be prevented or it can be treated. And then, as you said, people should screen to know their status, their hepatitis B status, because the prevalence is quite high. I mean, so if you get to screen and you are negative, then you get the vaccination to protect yourself. But if you are positive, then we have to link you to care, an expert who knows how to deal with hepatitis B treatment. And then the other issue is that, I mean, it's also about affordability. Okay, people getting to know their status but unable to afford the cost of treatment. Okay, it's a major issue in this country. And also, if you have hepatitis B, because of the risk of you developing cancer of the liver, we need to monitor those patients. And every 6 months, there are certain investigations that they need to do, so that when you are developing the cancer, we can catch the cancer early and offer you curable treatment. But all these things are a bit on the higher side, and then the average Ghanaian are unable to afford. So I think as a country, this is something that we need to look at so that we can save a majority of Ghanaians that are dying as a result of cancer of the liver.
All right. When you say it's quite expensive to treat, what are you talking about here? How much does it cost on the average?
So averagely for basic laboratory investigations, I mean, that you need to do to determine, because not everybody that tests positive to hepatitis B will require treatment. Okay, if we take 100% or 100 people, it's only about 40% of them that is going to require treatment in their lifetime. About 60% will have inactive infection, and inactive infection doesn't cause any damage to the liver as such. So for those, we monitor them to make sure that they are inactive all the time. But for you to determine whether you have active infection, and because of that, you have to put you on treatment. You don't need less than 1,000 Ghana cedis to do the basic laboratory investigations. And when the investigation comes and you require treatment, hepatitis B treatment is a lifelong. Okay, you don't take it, let's say, for about 3 months, 1 year, and you stop taking it. And it's not covered by insurance. None of these things are covered by insurance. And you don't need less than between 120 Ghana to 150 Ghana cedis to buy your drug for a month. Okay, so this make it a bit on the higher side for average Ghanaian to afford when they test positive to hepatitis B.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Chia. Would leave the conversation here with you. I know you have to also go and attend to your patients, but I appreciate the time that you made available for us. But I'll continue with you, Theobald, in the studio. So, yes, does your foundation help at all when it comes to treatment, people wanting to seek diagnosis and the tests that they have to do?
Yeah, initially, as I told you, the foundation comes in to help the patient to get access to quality and affordable treatment. Yeah, we have, that's what I said, we have partnership with some of the pharma companies and some of the private labs, because most of the tests, you have to do it at the private lab. Because when you go to the government lab, they have all the machines, but they will tell you that this machine is for HIV and TB. But the same machine can run hepatitis test, but they are not using it for, because it's HIV programs. And we are always telling the government that, why don't you integrate hepatitis program into the HIV program? Because we already have program that's running. So why don't you integrate it? And because they are using the same medication, they are using the same diagnostic machines. So the foundation is helping a lot of people, but it's not enough.
When you say help, as in, do you cover part of the bill?
Yeah, we cover the part of the drugs. And also the test is very expensive. That's why we are trying to negotiate the price with most of the labs, but it's not easy.
All right.
So we are telling the government to take ownership. Anytime I say government should take ownership, we have a policy. Yeah, we have a policy, but the government should invest in hepatitis education and treatment, because a lot of people are dying for this disease and they cannot afford it. So we are appealing to the government to prevention. Let's start with prevention, mother to child, because most of the chronic patients got it from their mother. So let's prevent mother to child transmission. Mother to child transmission is the vaccine. Let's vaccinate all newborn babies. When you vaccinate from now, in 10 years' time, Ghana will be free from hepatitis and liver cancer.
All right. That's great. Okay. But thank you very much, Theobald, for coming through. Would you also want to reach out for any assistance, people who want to support your organization and what you're doing?
Yes, we need support, but majority of our support comes from outside the country. Ghana, when we write applications, they will tell you go and come, but most of our funding from outside the country. So we are appealing to the companies here in Ghana. They should support us, because we have to go to, when we went to Upper West, somebody there have not heard about hepatitis before, and the rate there is high. The prevalence rate at the Northern region is high. So they should come on board. Let's bring 50-50. Let's 50-50. And we're also appealing to National Health Insurance. They should support hepatitis. Not even 100%. They should do the 50-50. If you go to Europe and America, it's 50-50. Pay 50 and let me so pay 50. But Ghana here, it's not like that. Yeah. And HIV drugs, they are banning it $1. So if government take ownership for hepatitis treatment, they are ready to make the drug some cent.
Yeah.
So we are appealing to the government to take ownership. They should invest. You shouldn't do a fire service approach.
Okay.
When there's a fire, we just take our tools, then we go. No.
You're looking for a comprehensive
approach to tackle the hepatitis and liver cancer.
Okay. Thank you very much, Theobald, and we urge you all the best. We wish you all the best with the work of your foundation. So Theobald is with the Hepatitis Foundation, Hepatitis B Foundation.
Hepatitis Foundation of Ghana.
Of Ghana. All right, thank you. All right, so many dream of building and owning a house, but achieving this dream can be quite a long journey. However, the solution to this headache, Waylead Company Ghana Limited has solutions that can lead the way. We have been joined by Sefing Siao, Senior Sales Consultant, Waylead, and Emmanuel Nyaku, Sales Consultant at Waylead. Good morning to you both, and thank you for joining us. So, what is the current project of Waylead Ghana that people should know about? Well, as part of our Habitat Fair, we're speaking to everybody who's involved in housing. And Waylead is one of them. So what's this project that you're embarking on right now that people need to know about?
Okay, thank you so much for having us. Currently, we are developing the Alphabet City. And the Alphabet City is a 2-bedroom apartment and a 3-bedroom apartment. Okay. In all, we are looking at putting up 240 units. 240 units at Sakumono. It's a serene environment, you know, very close.
Sakumono is quite close, yeah.
Yeah, very close to the motorway, access routes to the place. You have the beach road, and you can also use the motorway. So just like we are saying now, Alphabet City is in progress so far. We have the first block completed, and our clients are moving in very soon. Block B, Block C, Block D are also, you know, construction is ongoing. And we are looking forward to having everyone, you know, pay a visit to us and see the lovely buildings we are putting up.
Okay, so you talked about Sakumono, the fact that it's close, quite close to the city. But what else is unique about the Waylead project, the Alphabet City?
All right, so the Alphabet City, we are not just putting up the structures and then leaving them. Now, we are building, one thing that we do over the years is that we build houses and we manage them. Yeah. So at the end of the day, your property appreciates in value. Your property appreciates in value. So we are building a gated community made up of 2- and 3-bedroom apartments, as my brother said. And we are having all facilities that make life comfortable. So we are going to have a police station in there for your protection, in addition to our internal security, 24/7 estate management services. So no matter the time, if you have issues, you call on us and there's somebody there to attend to you. We have a backup generator for the apartment. It's actually a 6-level apartment with elevator.
Okay.
We have a swimming pool in there, a tennis court, a playground for your kids. And we have a commercial center, which will feature a restaurant, a pharmacy, a mini clinic, and a mart where you can, a convenience shop where you can pick up things. So it's a whole city on its own. That's why we call it Alphabet City. And beside Alphabet City, we developed Le Jardin Symphonique, 3-, 4-, and 5-bedroom townhouses. We have just 3 houses in a 57-unit project available that we are also selling that. So if you want to go in for a townhouses, we have it. If you want to go in for an apartment, we have it, or at Sakumono.
All right, so how many more units are available? I mean, is this still available for people who, you have started a project, but there'll be people who are now getting to know about it. Is it too late to, you know, acquire?
Okay, I will take that. You know, we started with Vista Del Mar. That's a 22-unit 4-bedroom house at East Airport. But unfortunately, those ones are sold out.
Sold out.
Yes, okay. And just like my brother said, Le Jardin Symphonique, 56-unit houses. For that, we have only 3 units remaining. We have the 4 bedrooms of that type remaining. But for the apartments, as I said earlier, we are building 240 units. So that's, you know, the number is quite huge. And for now, Block A is almost completed, and that one is sold out. So we have, you know, 24 gone out of that. But we have 1, 2, 3, you know, sold in the other block. So we have quite a number remaining that.
And what is the arrangement? Is it that you have to pay upfront for the building to be put up, or you, Waylead, will invest in all of that, put up the structure, and then people tend to buy?
Okay, so we at Waylead, we are not taking customers' money to build. We have the financial muscle to put up the structures.
Okay.
Then you come in, you tell us the house type that you want. It's already there, so you make your choice, whether a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom. Then we are not taking all the money from you. Now, within our structure, we are giving between 2 to 5 years to pay without any interest.
Yeah.
So between 2 to 5 years to pay for the house, Waylead will deal with you directly without any interest. Somebody will be like, I want more years than 5 years. Okay, we have mortgage partners, EcoBank, and other financial house who are ready to also finance for you. So they will give you the money to pay for the houses, and they will give you between 5 to 20 years to repay them.
All right. So how do potential customers, how do they get in touch with you? And what are the cost of the houses or the prices are we looking at?
Okay, so we want our potential clients to call on us. They can reach us on 0240 119 or 05044999999. They can also visit our website, whaley.org. What we've added is we've added a live chat. There's a WhatsApp button there. You just click on that and send us a message. We will respond to you directly. Yeah.
And how much are the units going for?
Oh, as low as $94,000, you are getting a luxurious 2-bedroom. Okay. And the spaces are, it's very spacious with air conditions and everything in there.
All that?
All that.
90,000?
Yes, please.
You're talking about. So we had some photos on the screen. Does it come with the furnishing as well, as we have it on the screen right now?
Okay, so the bed and sofas we don't provide, but beside the bed and sofas, everything in there, it's part of the structure.
Are you talking about kitchen cabinet?
Kitchen cabinet with five burner stove, oven, heat extractor is being provided in the kitchen. So you just have to move in with your bed and your sofas. And even that one, if you want us to provide the bed and sofa for you, no problem. We will do it for you and have a discussion with you.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much to you both for joining us for this conversation. So the numbers are on your screens if you want to reach out to Whaley. 024-011-1119 or 050-449-9999. Or you could also visit their website, www.whaley.org. Finally, before you go, flexible payments, as you have indicated, you can approach your mortgage partners.
Yeah.
For you to get that. Okay.
Yes, and even that one, you don't need to walk into the bank. We have a one-stop shop at our end. All our sales executives will engage you, get to know your financials, and they'll be able to determine how much you qualify for from each of our mortgage partners.
Okay.
So when you come to our office, right from making inquiries to buying, and then the payment plan, whether mortgage option, we will have all those discussion with you. And we work every day of the week, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays and Sundays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We are on site.
Our office is always open.
All right, thank you very much. So yeah, $90,000, sounds quite reasonable. So you may want to go check them out. You're still on the AM show. We have Showbiz coming up. Don't go away.
Hello, good morning and welcome to AM Showbiz with me, Mapisa CBD. Now, the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture has signed an agreement with Spain's government geared towards capacity building in the tourism sector. Now, Minister for that sector, Ibrahim Mohammed Awal, at the presser said his sector wants to create 1 million jobs in the next 3 years. He aims at achieving this by training 150,000 people, focusing on young people and women in different sectors. Now, Spain is noted for being the second highest most visited country in the world, and he hopes this partnership will help Ghana learn from their experiences and become the most preferred country for tourism in the world.
We want to create 1 million jobs by 2024 from the tourism sector and to have $5 billion from next year as receipts from international tourism. That is our target. To do that, we need to build the capacity of the operators within the sector. That is why we have our friends from the Spanish Embassy and South Africa Institute Foundation to support us to do that. So this agreement is going to help us build the capacity of 120,000 people in the tourism value chain in Ghana.
Tourism Minister Mohammed Awal there. And that's how we end Showbiz with me, Mapito CBD.
You need me to wrap up the show, so you wrap up the show for me.
Before I wrap up, Wahala for who know me October born.
I know, right?
Brala, yeah, it's your birthday today. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
you've been an inspiration, and can you continue being such a kind-hearted person? We really appreciate it.
I'll try.
Oh, Brala, yeah, it's the squeeze for me.
Oh, and there are some others who are celebrating their birthdays as well. So the Vice President, Dr. Mamadou Bawumia, it's also your birthday. So happy birthday to you. And one other person who we had a birthday surprise last year, Ivy Irene Arthur, it's also your birthday. And I wish you all the best. And anybody else who's celebrating
also George Quay.
Hey, George Quay, George Quay.
That's right.
Okay, and a few others. Oh,
Brala, it's okay. You enjoy your birthday. It's okay. Oh, Brala, oh, happy birthday to them. Happy birthday. Brala, yeah.
Prosper Harrison Ado, it's also your birthday. Oh,
who else? Okay. Tony Braxton, it's also your birthday. Everyone wishing everyone.
All right, but you have a wonderful day. And yes, I think I'll try to do my best for everyone.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. Because of COVID, I'll give you like an air hug, okay? Bluetooth hug. That's right.
All right. So we'll be with you again tomorrow. Enjoy your day.